Okay. All right, good morning. It's Thursday, March 4th, 2021. It's 9:30. I'm going to call us to order for a regular scheduled Jefferson County Commission meeting. Commissioner Jackson, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody can hear me just fine, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. We'll move to the next part of the agenda, approval of requisitions for March 4th, 2021. And I'll move those in the amount of $40,922.26.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion approved. Next on the agenda is approval of accounts payable for February 25th, 2021. I can move those also in the amount of $14,951.34.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next is approval of accounts payable for March 4th, 2021.
I'll move approval of accounts payable March 4th, 2021 in the amount of $494,400.47.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next is approval of manual checks for March 5th, 2021.
I move to approve manual checks in the amount of $1,977.22.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next is approval of payroll for February 18th, 2021. And I'll move that in the amount of, go ahead, Jane.
I'll move approval of payroll for February 18th, 2021, $287,935.05.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Stephanie, are there any announcements?
I do not have anything.
Okay, so we'll move to public comment. Do we have any public comment today?
If there's anyone who would like to make public comment, you can use the raise your hand icon, or you can send me a message and I will unmute you to make public comment. So there's a little hand, all you have to do is click on that and it'll let me know that you want to. We have one individual, Christina Marshall. Ms. Marshall, I've unmuted you.
Yes, hi. I wanted to make public comment on SB 12. I encourage a full discussion of the reason and justification letter for a letter in support of SB 12 by the County Commission. I think such a proposed letter should be included in the next agenda packet for the public to evaluate what is proposed and why before sending a support letter or opposition letter to the governor or other legislative officials. I think transparency and public participation should be encouraged. Thank you for taking my comment.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anybody else?
See anyone else? Just do a quick search. No, there's no one else who's contacted me.
All right, seeing no one else, we'll move on to agenda item number 1, Michelle Gordon, Finance Director, and Sheriff Hansen, status of 2 Governor Highway Safety Program grant-funded deputy positions, and status of 1 task force grant-funded deputy position, and municipality assistance. Michelle, do you want to touch on those?
I'm only going to touch on the grant-funded position statuses, and Sheriff Hansen will discuss the municipality assistance portion. So during the budget process, we went over the fact that there are 6 positions in the Sheriff's Department that are funded by other sources. 3 of those positions have recently been determined to no longer have funding. So the Governor's Highway Safety Program, the Sheriff's Office was recently notified that the Governor's Highway Safety Program grant revenue that previously funded 2 sheriff's deputy positions was not approved. The grant actually expired on 1/31/2021. When the original grant was awarded, the department acknowledged that if the grant funding was eliminated, these positions would be eliminated through attrition. We would not lay off anybody. The department anticipates that 2 deputy resignations will be received within the next 2 to 4 months. With both positions eliminated at that time, both positions have already been removed from the fiscal year 22 draft budget. For fiscal year 22, partial funding may be needed and will depend on the timing of the second resignation. The department will work with the finance director in an attempt to absorb any fiscal year 22 budgeting needs, funding needs for that second position. On 11/5/2020, the commission approved a new deputy position that was to be funded by the Department of Justice through BCI agreement. This position was filled shortly thereafter and remains filled today. The Sheriff's Office recently notified me that the grant was only approved for overtime expenditures, and funding for the full-time position was not approved. The department does not experience high turnaround, and an additional vacancy is not anticipated within the next few months. The position has been currently removed from the fiscal year 22 draft budget. For this position, there are 3 options that should be considered. Option number 1 would be to convert this position to a county-funded position. And that would have a cost of about $41,000 for fiscal year 21 and $80,000 for fiscal year 22. Option number 2 would be, since this position is currently occupied, we could temporarily convert this position to a county-funded position at the same cost for fiscal year 21 and 22 that I just mentioned, and eliminate the position through attrition with a projected vacancy within the next 12 to 18 months. Then, of course, option 3 would be to eliminate this position with an effective date of 3/13/21, which is the last day of the current pay period, or 3/27/21, which would be the last day of the last pay period in March. There would still be a cost in fiscal year 23 because the position is filled of about $23,000. County policy and state code do not provide for a severance package for reductions in force. Funding would either need to be provided by the county or through the department by internal reductions of other expenditure line items. My recommendation would be option number 2. Since this position is currently funded, I do not recommend that we lay off somebody. I would recommend that we fund this position through one-time use of fund balance in fiscal year 21. And then for fiscal year 22, the funding strategy would include, I sent an email this morning to the commissioners. We recently received a certificate of valuation for fiscal year 22 from the assessor. My original tax revenue estimate was low by about $30,000. So I have $30,000 from that revenue source. Additionally, the 2 positions from the Governor's Highway Safety Program were not 100% funded by the grant. They had a split up, think of 80-20, where the county provided about 20% of the funding for those positions. So we still have about 40% of one position included in the budget. Additionally, as we have deputies resign, they're typically retiring or resigning for other positions. So they are typically higher salaries. And when we fill at lower salaries, which would be the position that's currently filled at this point as a lower salary, we usually have a little bit of savings from that salary, from the higher paid person leaving to the lower paid person that we currently have. So I believe funding is available for fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 22. And just to reassure the commission that the department does have 3 additional grant funded positions. One is the school resource officer. That position is funded about 50% by the county and about 50% by 2 other sources. And then we have 2 positions fully funded by the Bolivar contract agreement. The county did implement a new payroll system last year, and that has provided us with new tracking capabilities. So beginning with the fiscal year 22 budget, or 7/1/2021, those 3 grant-funded positions and any new grant-funded positions that may be approved in the future will be tracked in a separate grant fund versus in the operating budget of that particular department. That'll help create transparency and make sure that those grant-funded positions aren't commingled with the county-funded positions. And I would like to turn this over right now to Sheriff Hansen so that he can provide you with any justification for keeping those positions, or at least one of those positions, or all of the above. Thank you.
I just want to clarify that the grant funded is for any office that would have a grant.
Correct.
Good morning, Commissioners. I guess I come to you with my hand again because of things that have happened by my predecessor. He pretty much told you, he misrepresented everything. But now I have 3 deputies, one who just had a baby, one who just bought a house, and another deputy that is going out his way to be one of our fine new deputies. I'm asking that you follow Michelle's recommendation that we retain these individuals, and through attrition, I'm going to let you know as of Friday, one of my individuals will no longer be a member of my agency his salary is almost twice what a new deputy salary is. So he'll no longer be, and I'm not going to ask to fill his position so that we can continue on. My predecessor, again, misrepresented a lot of things. He came to you and came to this forum in September, asked to be able to bring people on for the Government Highway Safety Program, knowing that it was going to end in January. We hired 2 people for that. And he came to about putting somebody into the task force. Now I have Special Agent in charge, Jeff Caesar, and First Sergeant Dean Olak from the West Virginia State Police. He is the officer in charge of the Drug and Violent Crime Task Force, and Special Agent Caesar is the Special Agent in charge of all the FBIs in this area, who I brought here to speak to you if you want to talk to them about the task force and the fruitfulness of the positions that we gave them. I don't know what else I can tell you. I don't want to lose these people. I'm willing to say, okay, if I lose somebody, I may not ask, but I may ask for more positions next year. I asked for 3 people this year. You cut them out. I'm going to say, let's make these 3 people the position I asked for the next fiscal year. I don't know how much more I can say to you. It's infuriating that my predecessor, and I'm going to start using that term because I want to say other things, has put my agency in this position and put me in this position. Again, I came to you last week over a problem that he had trying to stop it from being sued. That's the thing I've been finding out since I took office. If either of you like to hear from, anyone like to hear from Special Agent in Charge Caesar or First Sergeant Olak, please, gentlemen.
Sheriff, this is Commissioner Compton. I'm prepared to make a motion if that's okay, and we'll see where that goes. But I'm going to move, we temporarily fund one formerly grant-funded position originally approved on 11/5/2020 to a county-funded position at a cost of $40,009 FY21 and $80,000 for FY22, and this position will be eliminated through attrition.
Is this
Second.
Was that your option too, Michelle? Okay, sure. I just want to make sure because I was. All right, I'll second it.
Any discussion? Commissioner Tab? You're on mute, I think, ma'am.
I would like to ask for clarification from Michelle. I understood on the task force portion of the discussion that she recommended option 2. Now, I'm not sure, it got a little fuzzy with the grant funded portions. What option do you recommend, and then what is the total cost to the county?
For the 2 grant-funded positions, the original agreement was that they would be eliminated through attrition, so I did not include any options for those. However, based on Sheriff Hanson's request to keep those 2 positions as well, that would need additional funding of approximately $160,000, because it's about $80,000 per position.
And that's for the new budget year that we haven't finalized yet.
Correct. So
Okay.
it would need to be amended to include an additional $160,000 in funding to keep those 2. Right now, they're just going to decrease through attrition. Nobody will be laid off as far as those 2 positions.
All right.
That was your option 2, correct?
Well, I didn't include any options for the grant funded positions because there was already an agreement in place. I was just kind of giving you a status update. Sheriff Hanson would like to fill those 2 positions as well. So we would need to add.
And that was the original agreement, was that if we lost the grant funding, then, and I don't think you all knew that it was only going to be 4 months, but if you lost the grant funding, we would just you would retain them through attrition, and they would be, if I lost somebody, then I wouldn't ask to replace that individual, and I'm asking you just continue that agreement.
And I just kind of want to echo the same things that I've said to the previous department head, as well as previous commissions, that, you know, when you have this many grant funded positions, it really creates kind of a perfect storm. And we've just hit that perfect storm where we've had 3 of those positions no longer have funding, and this department is taking a big hit. So we need to be careful when we're approving positions that are funded by other sources.
May I say also, if typically, especially federal funding, you were getting what they call a COPS grant for a hiring position. The county is responsible for the salary, or the federal government is responsible for the salary for a couple of years, and then it reduces, and finally at the end of the grant period, the county must assume and agree to assume those positions. And that's typical. Most hiring grants are most backfill positions. Now, again, the agreement that this body made before you 2 took office was that you would retain them until and through attrition remain committed, and just asking you to maintain your agreement you already agreed to when we hired.
Did you say, did you say you have someone leaving at a higher salary?
This Friday is his last
This
day.
last day, have we already accounted for that?
Yes, that's one of the 2 that would cover the governor's highway safety program. And then just based on their attrition rates, there would probably be another one within the next 3 to 6 months.
So is there further discussion on the motion on the table currently? Okay, so seeing how there's no further discussion, all those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that motion passes unanimously. So the next thing is the task force grant one, Michelle. We got to figure out how we're going to approach that, I guess, then.
No, we did that one. That was the task force.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's the.
I got them.
So you'll talk about your.
Okay.
Municipalities.
Okay, and now, okay, I'm gonna table that.
You're gonna table it. Okay, then we're done
All right.
with everything we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, is Mr. Goodwin available?
Yeah, he's here.
All right. Agenda item number 2, Roger Goodwin, Chief County Engineer, complete construction bond release for McGee Civil Construction LLC, Burr Industrial Park Lot 40 expansion, file S18-07.
Correct. This is a request to authorize a complete release of the remaining $75,077 from the construction bond for McGee Civil Construction LLC, Burr Business Park, Lot 40 expansion. Planning Commission file number S18-07. The project's located at 306 Jamesburg Boulevard, and the work appears to be 100% complete.
Mr. Chairman, I move a motion to release the bond for McGee Civil Construction LLC, Lot 40, file S18-07.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? What's that?
Mr. Chairman, we have something on new business. I'm trying to find it. What page is it on? For Roger. I was just wondering if we could go ahead and discuss that now while he's here. And we are running.
That's fine. So it's under new business, the first bullet point, reevaluate construction bond unit cost estimate, and Commissioner Stolifer requested that, so I'll kick that to him.
Yes, sir. No, thank you for that. Since this has been on the agenda, I have talked to Mr. Goodwin and discussed some issues I saw on the new construction bond. We've had a long discussion on those. And he has mentioned to me that he's willing to look, do some spot checking along the way. That when they ratcheted up some of the inflation rates to some of the items, it didn't quite calculate them very well, and they were we say triple a couple things, but
Yeah.
so I don't know. I know Roger, if you want to discuss that a little bit, I'll let you know let's tell him how we came up with the figures and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, the bonding policy says that all bond estimates shall be based on the current market rates. However, they shall never be less than the unit cost that the county provides. And that the unit costs are subject to change from time to time as deemed necessary by the chief county engineer. And we had noticed in our office some indicators that our bonding unit costs were low, and we actually hadn't adjusted them up in almost 10 years. So we calculated what the inflationary cost would be over that period of time, and we just did an across the board inflationary adjustment. The other thing we did in the unit price spreadsheet is we gave it a command to take all numbers and round them up to the whole number, get rid of the pennies and make it easier to read. Not realizing that some of the unit costs are like 21 cents a square foot. So when it rounded 21 cents, instead of taking 21 cents to say 27 cents, it took it all the way to $1 and you end up with a 400 or 500% increase. And Commissioner Stolifer was getting some comments and had seen some of the numbers and brought that up. And we went back and fixed that in the spreadsheet. So those numbers should now be good. We reposted the bond estimate form on the web page so that it's correct. And then we're going to go through and do a spot check on some of these items with other jurisdictions and any construction data we can get our hands on and make sure that our numbers seem valid, because we don't want to be overcharging developers and businesses. We don't want to be driving up the cost of doing business, but on the other hand, we've had cases where we've come up short on enough bonds when developers walk away with enough bond funds that we don't have the money to complete the work. And the HOA's on the other side saying you're not doing enough to protect us. So we get caught in the middle, and it's kind of it's a balancing act, but we're going to take a look at it and try to fine tune it some more.
Yeah, I don't think we basically, since I put this on the agenda, we have we found a mistake what I was looking at, and we fixed that. I don't think we need to make a motion on this at all. Mr. Goodwin is willing to spot check several things, and I'm going to do the same with a few of my clients and just kind of see if I can get some estimates and see where we are on a few of the items. I do recognize that some of the materials have gone up in the last 10 years, and some of them have stayed the same. So he's willing to take a look at some of the data, and we'll just kind of move from there.
And I don't know, I'm glad to see these are revised. I know right now lumber's through the roof and some things are in short supply. So it may be well, if we ever get through this pandemic, to go back and review those. So we're not overcharging anyone if prices do come back down. But I do think they were in need of revision. So I'm glad to see that's been done.
Most, Commissioner Ted, just so you know, most of the items on there is mainly like grading, seeding, pipe, steel pipe, aggregate. Obviously, back when gas was $4 a gallon, 10 years ago, give or take, petroleum was way up, and it drove the cost of asphalt up. So those things fluctuate all the time, but not so much. I know lumber is up, 30% right now. So, yes, it's hot right now. But I don't think there's really any lumber in most of those. It's all grading and seeding and items like that.
Right. It looked more like stormwater materials and so forth. So, yeah, but it's still, good idea to keep an eye on it. So it's valid for everybody.
All right. So do you have something?
Commissioner Compton, can I have a few minutes just to
We're going to
point
do
out
that.
compliments that our office has received recently?
Yeah, go.
Okay, I just want to point out that
Yeah,
it
go
was
for it.
a letter in the editor of the Spirit, a letter to the editor that was thanking our office for conducting a flawless public hearing. And it said thanks to Alex, Jenna Lee, County Planner Jenny Brockman. Alex graciously included public speakers who were technologically challenged, and that the above ladies, plus all the less visible women working in government services, are my special Valentine wishes recipients for the year. So we saw that in the paper. We got a card in the office that said, hello, Kevin and I have been so grateful to help that Dwayne, that's our building permits plan reviewer, and Ron, our building inspector, and everyone else in the office have provided. This pool install, I'm sure, tested everyone's patience as it did Kevin and I. To show our appreciation, we'd like to buy lunch for the office. Please accept it as a huge thank you. And they included a gift card to the pizza shop to get everyone in the office pizza, so they were happy. To Wendy, our permits technician, Becky, the office manager, and Dwayne, the building plan reviewer, thank you so much for your support during my long and arduous ordeal. You guys are a great team. Thank you for your encouragement, sharing, and laughter. So important in strange COVID times. I've worked with a lot of planning boards and permit offices, and you're the best. Hope to see you at the open house. That's what's done. Then we have to Dwayne, the permits plan reviewer, and Wendy, the permits technician. Attached, this is from Becky, saying attached is a copy of a thank you card brought into the office by Bert Whetstone this morning, along with a vase with red roses. As you both know, Mr. Whetstone processed a permit through our office for a garage addition. And then a company called Solar Holler, they do residential solar projects. And it says, at Solar Holler, we have worked with almost every planning and engineering department in the state of West Virginia. Becky and Wendy have consistently provided us with timely processing of permit requests and excellent customer service. Our ability to succeed as a business is largely based on our ability to schedule and plan ahead of time. Knowing that we can rely on the professionalism and timeliness of our county officials like Becky and Wendy makes us a better contractor to our customers. It's always a pleasure to do work in Jefferson County, knowing that there are such capable people installed in the planning and engineering offices. And I just want to point those out because people are quick to complain, and I know you hear things, but these do come in on occasion, and people aren't so inclined to compliment people, but I thought it was important.
Oh, that's great, Roger. That's wonderful to hear positive comments because I know you all work hard. Thanks for sharing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Take care. We're a little early. I'm going to stay on new business. We're going to skip the next two bullet items. I want to jump to set date and time for joint meeting of the Jefferson County Fire Rescue Association, the ESA, and the County Commission. I think we briefly touched on this and wanted to do it after the budget was over. Is there any time in April we could do this? And there obviously needs to be some sort of a platform where our folks can call in also.
Yeah, so
Does anybody have any? Go ahead, Stephanie.
I know we were, well, if we do it here, we could obviously use this platform, but I don't think we have the space. But I know that we were gonna have a meeting before, working with them to create a virtual, platform, like a kind of a hybrid, like we have here, so we should be able to do that, and I'll put Russ back on that again to work with independent if that's what you guys.
Is there any preference of commissioners? April, this may occur, so we can have staff reach out to respective bodies and see if they're available.
I got a question. How many do we usually have in attendance at these? It varies, I'm sure.
It does. Sometimes most all the chiefs show up. Sometimes it's other people from those departments.
So we'll just do it all virtual then, I guess, because it sounds like this might be a handful. I mean, I don't think don't you, wouldn't you agree?
I would do it virtually. but
I think if there's a lot,
In person.
Independent's pretty big.
It's big.
Yeah, we can meet independent if you want to do that, I guess.
I mean, the question is, I mean, if you want to kick this to the next meeting and folks can look at dates and whatnot, I know April's still like another month out. I don't think it's going to hurt if we wait until the next meeting, but unless we have a date and time we want to propose now, I just wanted to put it on there because folks asked me to.
Yeah, what if we look?
Let's just defer it to the next meeting.
Yes, defer to the next meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I ask everybody, commissioners, to just look at their schedules and propose dates and times at the next meeting then.
Sounds good.
All right. So, all right. Stephanie, can we move on to the decision for zoning map amendment rezoning request for property designated as tax district Harpers Ferry 04, tax map 9, parcels 23 and 27. The properties are located off Shipley School Road in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
And you did not receive any public comment during the hearing. We have not received any additional public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the rezoning request by the applicant, District Harpers Ferry, tax map 9, parcels 23 and 27, Shipley School Road, Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
Second.
I'll second that motion. Okay. Any comment on this? All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Livingston.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Sure. All right, so we're still running a little early. I'm just going to knock out a few more of these on new business. Bullet point number 2, letter of support for Senate Bill 12. There was a public comment about a letter. This is just the proposal of potentially sending a letter. So there's no letter to draft, and that letter, if it is approved, will certainly be part of the agenda packet and minutes in the following meeting. So I guess a Senate Bill 12 gives county commissions more oversight of local health departments. Why do I think this is a good thing? It just adds a layer of public comment, oversight. So you can't have rogue bodies doing things that are maybe not agreeable to constituents. We represent the constituents. It also it allows for emergencies to be decided quite quickly by the health department outside that oversight. So I think there's a lot of good things in this bill. Obviously, there's a few things that are not so good, but majority wise, I think it's a good bill and it's needed because it adds a layer of public comment. So I don't know what everybody else thinks, but.
Just update you, I heard from Senator Rucker on Tuesday evening that the bill passed and is awaiting the governor's signature.
Okay, so it passed the House and Senate.
It said House did amend it. She was unable to keep up with the changes, but they passed it already and it's awaiting the governor's signature.
Okay, well, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I will then table this item. I was not aware of that.
And I'm looking that they haven't updated the website to reflect that.
Yeah, I was asking her point blank about the amendments, what amendments we need to be aware of before and she just said that it's already at the governor's desk, I guess.
Yeah, even the Senate, I have the House committee amendments, but I don't have the Senate amendments.
So, I mean,
Does
seeing how that it may or may not be, I'll table that unless,
I mean,
Commissioner Tab?
it's not a completely done deal. I still would, if you wanted to vote on it, I'd be comfortable voting on it and support, just in support of that bill, even though it's not a completely done deal yet. Just to show our support, if we support it.
Is that a motion, Commissioner Stolifer?
Yeah, that's a motion, Commissioner. Thank you.
I'll second that motion. Commissioner Tab, I see you have some discussion.
Yes, I haven't seen the complete bill, so I'm uncomfortable voting for anything in support or not. I'm also concerned on the implications might be on funding. You know, the health department is state funded. If we have oversight, it could, you know, and that's a pretty broad term. I don't know what the implications are for the county to support it with funding. So I cannot vote for it at this time since I don't know enough details.
That's fine. Any other comment from commissioners on this? The only reason I'm going to support it because it adds a layer of public input, and I think that's needed. These folks on these boards are not elected officials. They may have backgrounds in health, which is fine. I'm not trying to take that away from them. I just think it adds a layer that is needed that is not currently there. So that's why I'll vote in support of this. Any further comments? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, so motion passes 4-1. So Stephanie, can you please just draft a very brief letter outlining the support of the Jefferson County Commission for SB 12 or whatever it turns into? Thank you. Still a little early. I'm going to jump to the last new business bullet item, and that is repeal the county ATV ordinance and revert to existing state law. I brought this up a few years ago. It came up again with a number of citizens contacting me. We had that big snowstorm issue a few weeks back. There was that missing person thing that many folks were on the mountain using their ATVs trying to locate them. Essentially, they were not in compliance with county ordinance doing that. So there's an existing state law that allows for certain instances where residents can use their ATVs, unmarked roads, a certain distance from their house, and so forth. I think our current ordinance is too onerous. I don't know why Jefferson County has to be the outlier in the state of West Virginia with this ordinance. So I'm proposing that we schedule a public hearing to seek input on potentially repealing the ordinance.
I'll second that.
I mean, I'll make that a motion. I mean, that's my motion. If you still want to second that, Commissioner Stolifer.
I'll second that. Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'll just say I'm open to a public hearing, but I also know the problems that existed before we enacted the ordinance. So I'll be happy to hear both sides and see maybe if something needs to be tweaked or we can improve it. But I'm very concerned about not having any local ordinance. We have a unique, you know, housing or subdivision almost up on the mountain where there's a lot of four-wheelers, and I certainly understand that, but we've also sustained damage to our property from four-wheelers trespassing on our property. So there's two sides to the coin, but I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
And with or without the ordinance, you shouldn't be trespassing. That's still illegal. So.
Yes, I know, but it's easier to enforce, you know, when they're going down your farm lanes. It's easier to enforce.
Okay, so again, I'm proposing this as a public hearing to take input from the sheriff and residents. This is not a decision on whether or not to repeal it yet. So any further comment on this? All right, all those in favor of us scheduling a public hearing regarding the ATV ordinance, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. So we'll look to schedule that probably at the next meeting. I think we're doing pretty good on time here. We got a few minutes. Stephanie, how long, can we talk about the Route 340, I mean, the broadband committee update members discussion?
So, we've been meeting with Region 9, who has, an employee to facilitate, his name is David Deaver, to facilitate, the application of broadband grants now that we have the study back. I know that Shepherdstown, so we have municipalities, we have Charlestown represented on that, we have, the mayor of Bolivar is on the committee as well, and Shepherdstown has requested to, recommend someone to serve on that committee for Shepherdstown. We also, Commissioner Compton, you're on that, you took the place of Kathy on that board. But we used to have 2 commissioners if there's another commissioner who's interested in serving on that board, because we want the board to meet again to talk about the steps going forward. And it looks like there are some monies out there as a result of COVID where we could 100% in the short term improve service by placing some equipment on towers that are already existing, some of which are already on public land and would be eligible for the grants that are out there. And then there are some more long-term projects to improve it in the long term. So that committee is probably going to be meeting again in the end of March, March 24th.
I don't mind being on that committee. I know it's a pain point. Yeah. It's a pain point for a lot of people, particularly in the Blue Ridge Mountains area, but I know the outlying areas of the county that aren't encompassed in the municipalities. So I know what those things are. I hear about them all the time. So.
Commissioner Jackson, you want to be on that? And I know Commissioner Tabb's district is in a part of the county that's heavily underserved also. I mean, I'm willing, I know my district's not as affected in that regard, so I would be willing to relinquish that, knowing Leetown and the mountain are more affected, if Commissioner Tabb wanted to take that.
Yeah, yes, I'd be very glad. I was going to volunteer. So I'd like to serve on that committee. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good committee. I mean, I want to be fair here. I know certain districts in the county are more affected than others. So I think Commissioner Jackson, yours are the most. So there's no issue with commissioners having Commissioner Jackson and Commissioner Tabb serve on that committee, correct?
No, it's our own committee that we created to facilitate looking into the broadband and applying for grants. So we can have whoever wants to serve. And then is there any objection to my reaching out to Shepherdstown to have a member appointed to that, appointed as well?
I have no objection.
I have done it.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Just remind me when the meeting is.
I will. It's later in March. I'll send out a notice for that. We've been meeting virtually the last couple of meetings. But I think it's the intent that the committee kind of direct the work. But I do think that we can make some improvements really quickly in the short term. And David Deaver has been great. He has really kind of guided us, Sandy and I, through this process. So it's exciting. And Josh, if I could just follow up, because the other one is kind of related to that. You had mentioned the 340 expansion project and laying conduit when they are working on the road there. And we had discussed that with Mr. Deaver, and he said it would be a good idea to reach out to the Department of Highways and ask them if they would do that. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, can we add that for next meeting? I think that's a good thing to tie into the broadband committee at the county level. The consultant told us that that is a possibility, and we could lease that to a potential internet provider at some point also. So.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes, do we know how to reach out to DOH on these large projects and get that proposal on the table for them?
I have some contacts. So that's, I mean, usually I reach out to the contacts that I have and I can get to the right person through that.
Okay. All right.
So just so I'm clear, you're asking me to schedule DOH on the next county commission meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. If they're available. I mean,
Okay.
and just so everybody's clear, this is what the town of Hillsborough did when they are redoing their streets. They ran conduits and everything in future anticipation of internet fiber being run through the conduits. That's what this is essentially what my proposal is, if possible.
So Steve just texted me that Lee Thorne, who is from the Department of Highways, is already scheduled to be on our agenda April 1st, so that will be a perfect time to segue into that. So he's already going to be here.
Okay,
And then, which.
that's fine.
Commissioner Tab, Commissioner Jackson, who wants to chair that, because it's typically a county commissioner who chairs that committee. So who wants to be the chair?
I appreciate it, that's fine.
Is that okay? Commissioner Jackson volunteered to chair it. Commissioner Jackson.
That's fine.
Okay. Anything else, Stephanie, or can we move on?
You move on.
All right, so we're basically right on time. We're at agenda item number 3, interviews and appointments to the Water Advisory Committee. It's 4 3-year terms. Do I have that correct? 4 3-year terms?
4 3-year terms.
January 30th. Okay, 2024, and 2 unexpired terms ending January 31st, 2022. And I think we have one applicant, Mr. Mark Muse.
And he was here. Mr. Muse?
He was on earlier. There.
And you're still muted, Mr. Muse.
Can you hear us, sir?
Now you can hear me? Okay, good.
Yeah. How you doing? So I guess I'll start off. The obvious first question, why would you like to serve on this board?
Well, clearly the water supply in the county is vital to everyone. And it's always been an area of interest for me, lifelong fisherman, et cetera. And as a resident of the county for 20 plus years, I note its importance, the quality of the water. What is it, something like 80% of the county depends on the groundwater for their water supply. It's vital. It's very important.
Any questions, Commissioner Tab?
Yes, Mr. Muse, thank you for applying. And can you give me your understanding of the role of the Water Advisory Board? Water Advisory Committee, please?
I'm afraid I don't really have much information on that at this point in time. I sat in on one meeting just a couple of days ago, and I got some sense of what they're doing, in that particular meeting. But I don't know. I don't know, have the overall picture at this point.
Yes, I'm sorry I missed that meeting, but and just for your information, the Water Advisory Committee was formed when we were in the midst of a drought in the early 2000s. So it is an interesting topic that affects us all. So once again, thank you for your interest.
Any other commissioners with comments?
Yeah, I have one. I have a question,
All
actually.
right,
So I see from your
Commissioner Jackson?
letter of interest that your non-professional understanding of service water. So what could you bring to the table? What would you contribute if you were appointed to this board?
Well, not really understanding the role of the advisory board. It's a little hard for me to say at this point. Yeah, I'll have to leave it at that.
Mr. Muse, just one suggestion. We had this with a previous applicant on another board. Maybe perhaps get more in-depth detail and understanding of what the board does, et cetera, and come back. I know we did that for an ESA spot. I mean, I'm not saying I won't support you, just from my perspective, I think you should get more detail and understanding of the board and what exactly is going on with that. Again, I'm just one of 5, so if anybody else has other opinions.
No, I think I think it would be a good idea. Maybe go to a meeting. I think they do them all virtual and then just come back in and.
Well, is there do you all have a charge, a charter of some sort that you can supply me with?
Yes, they do have a mission statement. We'll get it. I'll get it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think heard Ms. Grover, not, they do have a mission statement. We can, she gets email that to you.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Anything further from it? I think there's 4 open spots. I think it's a reasonable thing. I mean, I'll certainly support you. Just get a little bit more detail and understanding and come back.
Okay.
Any further comments on this, or are we good? All right. Thank you, sir. I will see you in a few weeks, hopefully.
All right, thank you.
Next up, more interviews and appointments. Next is the Board of Zoning Appeals, 1 unexpired term ending January 1st, 2022. I think we have 1 applicant, Mr. Stephen Gear, is it?
Yeah. You're a guy, he was here.
Yeah, he sent a message saying his video wasn't working. If he can still talk, I think that's fine.
Mr. Gear, are you here? You are self-muted, so I've unmuted you, so you should be able to, you unmute yourself, you should be able to.
Oh, there you go. Outstanding. Yeah, I was just typing that my microphone is turned off by an organizer. I wasn't able to reply.
At least you got on. So I'll start off with the first question. Why would you like to serve on this board?
I think everybody basically needs a fair hearing. If somebody is told no by any organization, they should have a way of coming back and saying, I think somebody who has basically an uninterested party has a view. So that way, if one person says no, the next person says yes. You understand what I mean? Everybody needs to have a fair shake as far as any organization goes or any zoning application goes.
Okay. Any other commissioners with questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to just say this, while I was out campaigning, I ran into Mr. Gear and he asked me how to get involved, and I mentioned to him what he could do, and I want to say I do appreciate him applying for this position. He seemed like very knowledgeable. He was very knowledgeable of the county. He's lived here for several years, and I'd like to go ahead and nominate him for the BZA.
Okay, so just procedurally, the nominations have not been opened yet, but you can do that once the nominations are open. Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Tab.
Yes, Mr. Gear, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. I would like to have you expound on your understanding of the role of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I believe the role of okay, first of all, the name is Geyer, but I've had so many different pronunciations of my name, I take no offense any way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
As far as I understand it, basically, if a organization comes in and says we would like to create for lack of better, let's say a church wants to build a new facility on part of their property, and it is, call it within 10 feet of somebody else's property line. Somebody says, I don't appreciate the church wanting to put it there. I think those people have a fair argument, and it should be looked at as to whether the county says yes or no to the church as to whether they can facilitate a new building in, shall we say, as the person would say, encroaching on their property. I think if the church is told no, and you go out there and do a site survey and find out, gee, there's an entire row of trees that would block the homeowner's view of the said building, the church should have the opportunity to say, yes, I think we should be able to build it. It wouldn't really obstruct anything. In other words, I think everyone needs a fair shake.
Well, I appreciate that interpretation, but I hope you realize that the Board of Zoning Appeals is quasi-judicial, and they have rules and regulations that you must follow despite what you may feel personally. And also
Absolutely.
that any project that is a conditional use also goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So it has a critical role. And you can't always maybe do what you want to do on a personal level. So.
Absolutely. That is correct. Yes, the law must be followed.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from commissioners? I just one last comment by me. I noticed, Mr. Geyer, you do have some HOA experience, condominium board experience, so you're well aware of regulations and how they need to be followed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at this point, I'll open up nominations. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Mr. Geyer.
Any other nominations? All right, nominations are closed. All those in favor of Mr. Steve Geyer serving one unexpired term ending January 1st, 2022 on the Board of Zoning Appeals, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, we're moving on in pretty good shape. Definitely, we have a public hearing at 11, but I'm gonna jump back to the county administrator reports if that's okay with everybody. Stephanie, can we, is that okay, Stephanie? Are you prepared to discuss those? Okay, so you want to hit on the legislative updates at all? I know some stuff's been going on.
Yes. So there is a bill, I talked about this a little bit the last time, it's called SJR 9. It would require, if the bill passes, it requires an election because it amends the Constitution. I think it's an attempt to repeal the business tax. However, it switches a lot of the authority for property tax collection to the states, even though the state doesn't get much of that revenue. That is pretty much a local tax that funds local government, municipalities, and the county commission. Another issue is that when they were looking at how they would do that, there was a budget shortfall for almost every county, and they had, at that time, they were going to fill those holes by having kind of a fund to give money back to counties, though it wasn't clear how they were going to allocate that funding. So it's up again. I think it's the same bill as it was last year, which was SJR 9. I don't think it's changed. It did not pass last year. But my concern with it is that it switches most of the authority to the state for something that is a local revenue. So the state would be determining property values. And I think for a county like Jefferson, that might be problematic, considering when they look at our property values, they don't, most of the state has much lower property values. The commission did write a letter last year opposing that bill. I think we do need to find a solution for the business personal property tax. I think it is a hindrance to having businesses here, and it's why we have things like pilot agreements. And we get requests for pilot agreements whenever a new business comes in because the surrounding states do not have that. However, this mechanism, I feel, it's not just looking at that, it's also looking at other property tax revenues and keeping that authority. We discussed Senate Bill 12. Senate Bill 22 is adding back a surcharge onto the fire, basically insurance policies, homeowners insurance. to fund volunteer fire departments. I attended a CLE a couple of years ago where one of the presenters was a lobbyist for the insurance company, and they opposed this because we already have some of the highest surcharges in the nation on our. So they're always looking for ways to fund volunteer fire departments, and this is another way. I don't see that making much traction. The Senate Bill 270, which is the marketplace facilitators, we talked about that with Ms. Bates from the CEP. That has passed out of the and it's going over to the House. And there are several bills which would require municipalities to pay for inmates that they arrest. Right now, the county pays for all of that. That would really help us with our jail bill. And there are several different bills that do that, several different iterations. But even if one of them is just for, a short time, but even just for a short time, that would help us, because right now, like I said, the municipalities make the arrest and then you're responsible for paying that bill. I like the Senate Bill 280 is relating to e-commerce modernization, and it basically requires all political subdivisions to accept electronic payments. We do accept electronic payments now. I do not think that the magistrate court does for like payment deadline and stuff like that. So I think that's a good thing, kind of modernize the state. Senate Bill 282 limits the increase for assessments for improvements to residential real property. It cannot increase more than 5% if you add on to your, like if you put an addition on your house, the assessor couldn't increase your valuation more than 5%, even if it would be more. There are several bills that require special levies, like the school levy, or if we were ever to do a levy, that would require it to be scheduled when there's a statewide election scheduled or a regular primary or general election. So you couldn't hold a special election just for consideration of a levy. And there are several bills that are.
Stephanie, another bill too. I don't think House Bill 2025. I don't think you mentioned that like that more lax alcohol sales stuff where we could have sales of alcohol delivery and everything. I know that the alcohol sales helped our budget too quite a bit this past. I'm not encouraging people to go buy more alcohol, but I mean they should have the freedom to do it.
It did, yes, I will. I saw a statement yesterday. I got stats, but I don't know. Okay. Yeah, just. Look it up here in a minute.
There is a process, there's a bill that would create a process for voters to recall county ordinance as special election. Right now, we can only recall an ordinance if it has a recall provision. And this one is interesting, and I think we should watch this one, House Bill 2136. It is eliminating, it's seeking to eliminate the county getting the first share of lottery billing, or video lottery. And that's a problem. So right now we get the first million, and then thereafter it's split amongst us and the municipalities. And from my point of view, we provide a lot of county services that in both the municipalities and the county. 911, the ESA. We would never be able to fund the ESA to the tune of $3.1 million out of the general fund if we did not have the gaming. And while everyone in the municipality does pay an ambulance fee, it's a drop, the 900,000 compared to what we're funding out of the general fund is a drop in the bucket. So we're providing lots of countywide services. We collect, we bill, we assess and bill the taxes for the municipalities. The prosecutor prosecutes crimes that occur within the municipalities. Currently, we're paying the jail bill. So I think there's a reason why the county would collect that first million, and it's because we're providing a lot of services countywide, some of which we're not required to fund, but we do because we think they're important. So if this bill passes, it would just distribute the video lottery equally from the very beginning. And that would have a huge impact on our
What bill number is that?
House Bill 2136. And it's been, it's one of the northern panhandle counties, I think, where there's a dog track. It's a municipality in that jurisdiction, and they're upset that they don't get, because in that jurisdiction, they don't collect enough for it to trickle down to the municipality. So maybe they could just make it.
Who's sponsoring it, you know?
I do not know, but I did that for you, but.
Okay, yeah, you know what, yeah, this evening sometimes fine.
Anything else, Stephanie?
It's just, there's a bill that would exempt firefighters and volunteer firefighters totally from paying income tax and property tax.
Okay,
And then
that would be nice.
And then there's a bill for, to establish a county-wide sales tax. And that bill has been before the legislature several years, and it has never passed. And that's why.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie, for that. Any commissioners, any further stuff on legislative items from commissioners?
No.
All right, Stephanie, I think there's one last thing on your report. Can we do that, or is that going to take too long?
No, we can do it. I don't think it would take. Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
So we received a request from Company 5. And, you know, we've been collecting the bills and distributing money, and we've also offered them the P card. There's only one of the 7 that's using the P card that's favored the fire department. And one of the expenses that we received a reimbursement request for was actually for an ambulance. It's a $30,000 lease payment for an ambulance. And Michelle declined that payment because it's not a fire expense. I'm hearing, though it was not, I did attend the fire and rescue meeting and no one said anything to me about it, but I'm hearing that they believe they can spend it however they want, even if it's on EMS. And I will say that in the past, we haven't gone through them in this detail. Michelle is really going through them, and she is going, she's not picking on any one company. She's looking at all of them. We received a request for a loan payment, and we figured out what that was, if it, you know, it's for an ambulance or not for another company before we released this funds. We had already earlier, because we didn't catch it, reimbursed them already for something that was an EMS expense. I think it was COTS and some other things, and that was also. So they're requesting to be able to spend their county allocation that is for fire on this $30,000 ambulance bill. And I didn't feel comfortable releasing that because in the budget, they're separate, fire and DMS. If the commission just wants the fire departments to be able to spend it how they see fit, even if it's on EMS related expenses, you know, we'll follow that directive.
What does everybody think here? I mean, I understand years past, they've been spending it as they want. I
That's
mean, what do the other commissioners think? I mean, from my standpoint, I mean, if we're going to give them an allocation, are we going to nitpick how they use that allocation? I mean, it is $30,000, so don't get me wrong, it's a large chunk of that allocation, but are we going to be the body that decides is that a prudent expense or not?
In my opinion, there are 2 separate line items. We're giving the fire departments money to operate on. ESA as a county expense. The fact that some of the fire departments have wages and benefits listed on the financial statement is a big problem with me. I think we should have oversight, a little bit of oversight on what we're allocating to them for the fire departments. It shouldn't be carte blanche, here you go spend it however you want. So I don't think that we should support dispensing this money from the fire line for ambulance service.
Other commissioners?
I kind of agree with Commissioner Jackson, just so you know.
I agree also. We're trying to, you know, figure out how to best fund emergency services, and we need a really clear picture of expenses for both portions of that emergency services. And the county is really putting a lot of money out there, and we need to make sure where it's going.
Commissioner Hudson, any comment on this?
I completely agree with the other commissioners.
And I concur as well. So, if we need a formal motion or anything, Stephanie, but it sounds like there's a unanimous consensus that we will not be releasing that money for that expense.
And just to be clear, we should be consistent with all the fire departments.
Yes.
So
We
moving
are,
forward.
if we've gotten something that we didn't know, we were like, okay, this is a low payment, but what's that low payment for? So we're not singling out one fire department, we're looking for all of them. What are they spending?
So, all right, so I think we're done on that issue, and you have no more items, correct, Stephanie?
No, I do want to, if I give you just a quick update, I've been sending Michelle out to the health department to sort out their finances and some grants that they've already received. And in just a couple of hours, I think she's done some really great work out there. She's been able to identify over $300,000 that in a grant that we already have that kind of dropped down. I don't know if we'll be able to draw all of that down right away. We'll at least be able to draw down over $90,000 of that if they keep to the quarterly schedule. So she's doing really good work, kind of seeing where their finances are, what grants they have. And then as we go on, there may be eligibility for the FEMA public assistance grants if we don't have grants that are already covering that. But Michelle's really great. She did our CARES Act reimbursements and did a really great job for the county. No doubt that she'll do that for the health department as well. And then if the American Rescue Plan passes, there'll also be probably additional money for them for vaccines. And also, but there is a pot of money from FEMA as well. They just need to expend the funds, and I'm going to attend their board meeting, and I'm going to have Michelle go with me to say, if you want to hire a nurse, or you want to hire a volunteer coordinator, you have to incur those expenses under the FEMA public assistance grant, but it's almost guaranteed that they will be 100% reimbursed by FEMA, because any surge staffing, any overtime, that is all reimbursed by FEMA. And there's already been a disaster declaration for a year now. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that to say that we're looking at the health department, trying to help them get their finances in order and draw down some of those grants they've already gotten, and then apply for grants that they may be eligible for.
And then, Chairman, I just have a request. I know it's too early now, but in light of the special session that we had related to the vaccinations, that we could either get Dr. Reedy on, or if he at least just provides an update on how many vaccinations have been received compared to what we were being promised, and how many have been dispersed.
I have that information. I sort of have that.
Okay.
We did get 16 new vaccines. So I think they were saying that we got 17, they were giving us 1780 this week. That included like 400 booster doses. So that totally we got that 1780 that we were going to get. I think they did about 1,000 vaccinations yesterday. They have opened up, WVU Healthcare offered their scheduling system because Everbridge wasn't working really well. And it also allowed us to use the health department waiting list, which we weren't really sure was really meshing with the Everbridge system. So now they're using the WVU scheduling system for their own wait list, and then they're switching over to the Everbridge system. So we did receive 16 new vaccines this week, and they'll all be provided. I don't have the total number that we've had since we started getting vaccines. I can get that number for you. But I do know that we did get the allocation. They said if you include the booster doses.
Okay.
Including the booster doses, we were 1780.
That's right, yes, this week.
If you don't mind, I would like to also congratulate Michelle, because she's done an awesome job in just a very short amount of time out there of identifying a lot of dollars that I don't think they were aware that they were able to get.
No, I agree. And I'll just remind, I always say this, but we all work for under the same umbrella too. So thank y'all for sitting her out there and find that. So we're all one county.
Yeah, we've had some offers of support, and Matt Warren had reached out to me to see if he could help apply for grants. But I think with Michelle, she's a really great resource for the county, and I think she'll be a really great resource for the health department. If I feel like we do need additional help, I'll come back to this body first, but of course, before I ever hire anyone to do anything. But I did contact Matt Warren and say, I think we've got it under control right now, but in the future, if we need you, we'll let you know.
And just so you know, I've been working on, haven't got the right resources connected because it's such a moving target with the vaccination program. But I'm on the Eastern Panhandle Transit Board. And so they're willing to help anybody with transportation. We've just got to figure out a way to mesh it with the scheduling and who needs it. Because I think that's an issue for many people. So we'll have to, that's going to be a tough nut to crack, but we're going to try to work on that too.
So just my mother was on the wait list, and so she did get her vaccine yesterday, and they have an online scheduling system, but you can also call and talk to a person. And my mom actually called and talked to a person. So if they need assistance, maybe we could coordinate for them to, call when they're scheduling and say, I need some help getting there, and then try and figure out a way to get people there.
Yeah. The EPTA does have, service on demand, but you have to give them heads up. But they can do individual transports.
Okay. And then I also wanted to let you know, I just love this, the health department is going to request additional National Guard to assist them with the level of vaccines that they're administering now.
Good. All right. Thanks, Stephanie, Michelle, and everybody. Great job. I'm going to keep us moving along. I know Miss Fields is on agenda number 5, so let's jump to that. Lynn Fields, probate office approval, final accounting for the estate of James L. Hatchett, deceased. And I'll move that we convene as a fiduciary review board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we're a fiduciary review board. Ms. Field, are you on?
We actually have this painter instead.
Oh, Ms. Painter, how's it going?
Hello. So Lynn unfortunately had an appointment with a customer, so she was unable to go before you. But the only thing that she has is the to approve the first and final accounting for the estate of James L. Hatchett, and I believe she said you all had a copy of that.
Yeah, I've reviewed it. Has all the other commissioners?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
that we approve the final accounting for the estate of James L. Hatchett, deceased, as presented by the county court, by the probate office.
Second that.
second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, then I'll move we reconvene as a county commission.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we're reconvened as a county commission. I'm going to try to get us to this thing. I'm going to jump to county commissioner reports. I'm going to go myself first. The Solid Waste Authority, the big thing there is they're in process of potentially increasing some of the fees there, a few percentage points in conjunction with waste management. Nothing too large, a few percentage point increases. There hasn't been one in a few years. This has to go to the Public Service Commission, so it's ultimately up to them to approve or deny that. Another concern there is Apple Valley Waste has that Insorga plant. Long term, they've always been concerned that that plant is going to take a lot of waste away from the transfer station and potentially cause them some financial issues. It really hasn't come to attrition yet, but that's one thing they're keeping on the radar. Parks and Rec, they still continue to work on that land acquisition near Moulton Park. That's ongoing. They've actually restarted some programs and will be restarting more programs in the coming weeks and months. So if the public is interested in looking at programs for Parks and Rec, get on their website, Facebook page, and register. They surely could use the program revenue from the COVID situation. I know Stephanie attended the fire board meeting because my wife had to get surgery again. I couldn't be there in person. I don't know if she has any more updates than she's already given regarding that, but.
Yeah, most of the meeting they were discussing some OGs. They were talking about updating the nature codes and reviewing all the nature codes that they have and updating them, maybe changing some assignments on certain nature codes, maybe eliminating some nature codes. I gave them an update on our response plan and scheduling and told them that we were seeking a managed services contract for CAD to try and get that program more quickly. Though if they're changing the nature codes, it has to be reprogrammed every time they change the nature codes or change a piece of apparatus. So we need to get the contract with Spillman, but we may want to have Spillman hold off on that until they have the opportunity to review the nature codes. Company 5 presented a wildland firefighting trailer that they have purchased. Believe that they received grant funds for that. They indicated that 3 of them have been trained on wildland firefighting and offered to the trailer for other companies who wanted to participate in the training as well. Other than that, I don't think there was very much more. A lot of it was kind of there discussing different OGs that they have that they feel like they aren't being followed or they have questions about, and a lot of discussion about the nature code.
All right. Thanks again for sitting in that for my place, Stephanie.
No problem.
Commissioner Stolifer, any updates?
Biggest update, JCBA, I'm sure you read in the paper, Sheets have purchased a plot of ground in the Burn Industrial Park to have a distribution center. Not a whole lot happened on the planning commission. They have a special meeting on solar last week. That will probably be showing up here soon. Then CBB, they had a great presentation with a gentleman doing their marketing. A lot of great pictures that he put into this marketing material, showing open spaces and the ability to show social distance as you bicycle or hike in the Jefferson County area, because we feel like that's going to be critical for at least the remaining part of this year. That's all I have.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, so the ESA, we're still dealing with, primarily dealing with the reduced service on the Blue Ridge Mountain area with Company 5 with ESA staff. The last meeting, we decided as a board to leave that at the 12 hours, staffing daytime. I did meet the director and the operations, the chief of operations at the public safety house and did a walkthrough with the state fire marshal just to determine the situation of that building, if that could be used potentially as an interim facility for ESA staff to restore 24-hour service. I don't have the fire marshal's report yet. So it hasn't even been presented to the ESA board, but we're trying to figure out a workaround and restore service as quick as possible to 12-hour service in that area. But bear in mind, the board's #1 priority is county staff and public safety around ambulance service. So we got to make sure we're meeting all the requirements to do that. That's all I have right now. Probably after the next ESA meeting, I'll have a little bit more to share.
All right, thanks. Commissioner Tab?
Last Saturday, I participated in a League of Women Voters forum, which was enjoyable. It was more a conversation than a debate. So I enjoyed that very much. I also, I'm on the Volunteer West Virginia Board. That's not a county commission duty, but it's a statewide appointment. And it was interesting to hear all the AmeriCorps and how they still delivered programs during this pandemic. Certainly challenging when you're trying to reach children that are not in the school. So they've done a good job and also, come up with cost savings too. I did miss the Water Advisory Committee meeting Tuesday night, but they were trying to go visit Moulton Park, the proposed new Moulton Park, and so we can make comments on, what is proposed there and how it may impact, our water resources with the river right next door. So, and then I have a Farmland Protection Board committee meeting tonight, but there's just more work to do. We're reviewing old easements and dealing with some technical issues that need to be corrected. Not lots of fun, but it needs to be done. So more work ahead.
All righty, Commissioner Hudson, any updates from you?
Yeah, just a few days ago, CTUB voted to equalize their rates, but they're bringing Charlestown and Ranson up to the formal PSD level. Besides that, I don't have much.
Okay, and see, that's it. I think just Stephanie, can we make sure that all the county commissioners are going to receive the virtual invite for the health board meetings going forward? I think until the pandemic's over, it's prudent all commissioners attend these meetings.
Yeah, I will do that. We should have that.
All right, thank you. So we're in good shape. My plan here is to, in the next 3 minutes, start the public hearing. I don't think that's going to be very long. Take a brief break and then jump to Nathan, and then we can adjourn after that. So everybody, you guys can just hang out for the next 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll start the public hearing.
And at the next home consortium meeting, because Habitat's going to be doing a project in Jefferson.
Okay.
Jefferson County.
Okay.
I'll meet him.
Is everybody back? Caleb, Jane?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I think we're just waiting on Jane.
Yeah, I'm here. I've been turning my video off because I've been getting some feedback on the audio, so.
Okay, no problem. So we're back. It's 11 a.m. This is a public hearing to discuss the housing needs of Jefferson County for the 4-year 2021 Home Investment Partnership Program. And second, for the commission to approve a resolution authorizing participation in the Eastern Panhandle Home Consortium of West Virginia for the period of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Nancy Strine. I'm the Community Development Block Grant and Home Administrator for the City of Martinsburg. And this is my third public hearing for the home. The home is the Home Investment Fund Program, and we have it that covers the whole Eastern Panhandle. So that's why I'm here today. So we begin the process to prepare our 1-year annual plan for the use of these funds and to receive public input. And then I kind of give you a little recap of how well we've done. Home is the largest federal block grant program to state and local governments designed exclusively to create affordable housing for low-income households. The city, we have been participating with the home program since 2007. We have received $5.9 million for housing assistance for the city of Martinsburg, Berkeley County, Jefferson County, and Morgan County. The Eastern Panhandle Home Consortium Board, there are 3 members that are appointed, meets quarterly. And I want to personally thank those members, and they are Cal, who is your commissioner that is on the consortium, Annette Van Hills, who's a very active member, and Tony Grant, very active member. So I thank them. I'll be having a meeting with them in just a couple weeks. So the home program has assisted 25 first home buyers, we call this gap financing, to purchase their first home in the city of Martinsburg, Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan County. Last year we did 29, but this year with the pandemic and all, we were able to do 25. So I'm quite proud of the fact that we were able to assist as many people during this time. And the exciting news for you all, and I know Josh, you'll be thrilled to hear this, because 3 years ago, and Jane, I know 3 years ago we didn't do anything. Last year we did 5. Well, guess what? This year we assisted 10 first-time home buyers in Jefferson County.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So
Great.
10. Most I've done, I've been doing this program for 6 years, and that's the most I've done in 1 year in Jefferson County. So, and then we did 10 in Berkeley. We did 2 in Morgan and 3 in the city of Martinsburg. So just to give you an idea, because I usually give you an idea of where these places are, we actually, and don't let people tell you that some of them, we can't buy affordable housing in Jefferson County, because somebody bought a house in Kearneysville for $71,500. Then there was a 99.9 in Harper's Ferry. Then we went all the way up to 217 in Charlestown. But there were 3 loans in Charlestown, 2 in Shepherdstown, 2 in Kearneysville, and the 1 in Harper's Ferry. The median sales price for Jefferson is around $189. So, and then I just recently closed on another one in Jefferson County, and that was next year's allotment, but that was for $155,000 in Shepherdstown. So, this one, so I know you're thrilled about that, because I know you know, we were trying to figure out ways to get people to utilize this program. Historically, we have assisted 316 first-time home buyers in the Eastern Panhandle. Our $4 million of HAP loans leveraged $40.5 million in home sales and 37 in their first mortgage loan. In addition to this first-time home buyers program, we're required to set aside 15% of our annual allocation for, we call it CHODO, Community Housing Development Organization. The only eligible the only eligible children that we have is the Eastern Panhandle of the Habitat for Humanity of the Eastern Panhandle. They've been currently building homes in the Auburndale subdivision in the city of Martinsburg. But recently, they have been contacted and they are working with the owners of Sage Place in Shepherdstown. So this will be our first Habitat house outside of the city for a while. And so we're working, they're working with them. I met with them yesterday. They submitted an application, so I will be processing it, taking it to the Home Consortium at the next meeting. So that's the exciting news. We go from 3 years, not a whole lot of activity, and now this year, a lot of activity. I continue to get a lot of requests for Jefferson County. So I'll turn it over to the public, or is there any other comments or questions from you all?
So yeah, I guess we'll just open up to public comment at this point. That's great news. Thanks for doing a great job getting those homes in Jefferson County. Hopefully we can continue that. So at this point, I'll open to the public hearing for the community if there's anybody that wishes to make public comment in person or virtually. Is there anybody that you can see, Stephanie?
Oh, sorry, I was reading the, there's out there. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment on the affordable housing? Public hearing? I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay, so
You can wait by raising your hand or sending me a message. No, I'm not seeing any.
no one. Okay, well, we'll leave public comment period open for 2 more weeks. And that'll be, I guess, our next commission meeting will, I guess we'll decide at that point, which is March 18th. So thank you, ma'am. And thanks for the great news.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll need to put the resolution back on in 2 weeks, correct, Stephanie?
Yes.
For approval. And I too want to thank Ms. Strine for all her hard work. I know some years it has been somewhat disappointing, but this is exciting news, and I'm glad the word is spreading and people are using your services. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. And so that I'll get this back to you in 2 weeks. In the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to call or email me. I live in Jefferson County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're doing pretty good on time here. Does anybody need a break, or did they already take that break?
I'm good.
Okay, so the last agenda item is number 4, Nathan Cochran, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. Mr. Cochran, is there anything we can discuss outside executive session?
Commissioner Compton, I, at your request, have eliminated some of the recurrent items off of my list. And everything that is on there, I have a matter to bring before you with some legal advice and or some potential for litigation. And so I would respectfully request that we enter into executive session to consider all of the items on that list.
I'm going to move, go to executive session.
Second.
Okay, just to note, we are going to executive session for all the items listed on agenda item number 4 under Nathan Cochran, Prosecuting Attorney.
And to receive legal advice and because of issues of potential conflict of liability related to litigation.
Okay.
Yes, the motion should include that we are to receive legal advice.
Commissioner Stolliff, are you okay updating your motion to reflect that?
Yes, I'll update my motion to include the advice that our attorney just provided.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So we're in executive session, so we're gonna jump to that next web link that Stephanie emailed, and I'll see you all there.
And give me a second, because this is my first time switching between the two on this one.
Okay,
Just if I'm not there.
no worries.
Somebody has Caleb, Jane. Okay, we've got-
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, sorry.
Okay, we're gonna ask for a motion to come out of executive session.
I moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, thank you all, and we're back now in our live meeting. If there are no objections, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
All right.
We all.